Peaches, welcome to today's video. Last week you may have seen how I put up this floating shelf behind me. Floating shelves are super popular and everyone loves them, so last week I showed you guys a really simple way to give you the illusion of a floating shelf without all of the difficultness. Well, today I'm going to show you guys how to style a shelf, because styling shelves are not always the easiest. Sometimes they can be very challenging. This shelf behind me is a 7-foot shelf, so that means we have a lot of space to fill up, and we don't want it to look cluttered, but we don't want it to look empty either. So I'm going to show you guys how I styled this. I have a dresser down below and I styled that as well to make sure that that plays in with the shelf above. I also have another 7-foot shelf on that side of the room. So today I'm going to show you how I style all of them. Shelves can be such a fun way to take up a lot of space instead of having a big print. Getting something this size would cost a lot of money, so a shelf is a super affordable, easy way to do that. I can't wait to tell you guys what I look for at the thrift store when I'm trying to style a shelf, and hopefully this video will make it a lot easier for you when you're styling any shelf, whether it's a big one like this, a small one, a layered bookshelf, whatever it is, this video will help you. So first I want to talk about thrifting. Now you don't have to do this, but you have to look for a lot of different types of objects to put on the shelves, otherwise it will just be way too much of the same, especially for the shelf that this size. Shorter shelves, it's not as big of a deal, but this is a 7-foot shelf, so we have to put a lot of stuff on it, and we don't want to do like all plants. That may be a little boring. So I personally, for my style, like to go to the thrift store. It saves you a lot of money and you can find really nice things. My favorite part of the thrift store is that the things that you find are usually authentic, so authentic wood or authentic pottery, whatever it is, it's more vintage. A lot of the things you find in the store today that are like from China, they're not as good quality and they're a little bit more expensive. Some examples of what I would look for a shelf at the thrift store are books. Now the biggest thing about books is I like to get ones that I read, but also just ones that are pretty hardcover books. You just take off the sleeve and then they have the title. When you get these, you want to look at the color of the book to make sure it matches your room or whatever the room it's in. And you also want to look at the title, because you don't want a title that's like something crazy. So also you want to look for different sizes. You don't want all the same size because you want it to be more interesting. The next thing I look for is candelabras. I couldn't find any, but I really wanted them, and I have these really pretty candles. So if you can find them at your thrift store, that would be even better. These are from Target, but they were $25 for a 3-pack, where I guarantee you if you found them at the thrift store, they will be much less expensive. But I really like how these ones look, so look for those. Also, these candles I'm so excited about to show you guys how I style them, because I bought them from Kristen Made. They'll probably never like them because they're too pretty and they're a little bit expensive, but I think that it will be really interesting on the shelf. The last thing is pottery. So this is all like real ceramic. I think it's really, really pretty. This was $5 from Goodwill and this was $6, which is a little funny, but they end up matching pretty well, and I think it will just be really pretty. So let's get into it. So I really like these type of candles and the candelabras because they add height, and it's really important with shelves like this to play with height. I also like that they come in different colors. I ended up actually flipping the colors because I didn't like that red was on both sides, but then pottery is nice to just add an authentic vintage feel. It's not perfect for everyone, but I really like that style. Now, something I didn't mention before is plants, but greenery is such an important part of adding life to a room, so I really like to add in some plants with my shelves. Now, baskets are always really fun. I just have 2 little baskets that I wanted to use for the shorter height, and I think it looks really nice with the tall height of the candles and just changes it up. Now, if you notice the placement of the plants, they're on opposite sides, and if you notice the placement of the candle on the top shelf is to the right and on the bottom shelf is to the left. Now, it's very important when you're styling a shelf to have balance, so you don't want all of the tall things on one side and all of the short things on the other. You want to make sure that you have height that's similar on both sides, and also you want to make sure that you have pottery and whatever it is, like just balancing. So the pottery I have on the right and then the left, and I end up changing it around quite a few times. My final product, I have it on opposite sides, just because if you look right now, the pottery is very heavy on the right side. Also, another really great thing to look at in the thrift stores is for frames. Frames are very expensive sometimes in the regular store, but they're so cheap at the thrift store, and you can find really, really cute ones. So inside your frames, you can put pictures, but you can also put quotes. You see in that brown frame I just have a quote that I just typed up in a pretty font on the computer and printed out. Also, you can do a DIY paint project and paint your own artistic thing. You can buy prints online as well, but painting your own is usually really simple and easy to do. So if you look here, it's just too heavy with the frames, but I did think that looked nice. Something that I really like to do is layer frames of different sizes, of different textures, and just kind of put them in front of each other. If you see here, you can still see all of the photos, or instead of just having one big frame. So make sure that you're staying within a story. You don't want to crowd it, and you don't want to overdo it. Having so much extra decor that I really liked, so I wanted to put up another shelf. This one I wanted to do more plants. Now the first shelf was more of a neutral palette of colors, and this I wanted to do more like vibrant colors. I had two of these big frames that I really love, but on this shelf it would just be too much, so I only used one. And if you notice that next to it, I end up putting a small candle in a small frame. I just think it helps to fill that space. Now I really love this pampas grass, but it's just way too tall and overpowers the shelf, so I ended up putting that on the floor. Now I played with a lot of plants, but right now it just looks a little too crowded. I think there's too much going on, so I'm trying to figure out what I can put there instead. I have so much extra decor, so I had a lot of options, but if you can't find the perfect thing, then just leave an empty space and you can keep searching in the thrift stores. Remember that when you put things somewhere, it doesn't mean it has to stay there. You can just keep moving it until you like it. Also using a variety of thicknesses like skinny and fat, as well as different directions of your frames. I think that really keeps it interesting. Alright guys, that is the final product. I hope that you like this video. I hope this helps you when you're going shopping to find things that you need for your shelf. I hope it helps you to know where to balance it and how to pick your colors for it, your textures for it, to keep it interesting. And realistically, as long as you're playing with colors that are in the same family, different heights and shapes and sizes are all balanced, so you're having things on each side and you're not overdoing it, then you should be really good. If you guys use the tips in this video and you style a shelf, then please tag me. I'd love to see your shelves. Maybe you guys give me some ideas for more shelves that I want to put up, because they're my favorite thing to decorate big spaces and they just look so cool. If you like this video, then don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and hit subscribe down below to see more of me, and turn on that bell notification to get notified every time I post. As always, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye!